Today I'm going to talk about backing up the tail end of a transaction log. Now the tail end of a transaction log are all those transactions that have occurred since the last successful transaction log backup. For those of us who are doing regularly scheduled transaction log backup, say every 15 minutes, we have an acceptable risk of data loss of 15 minutes. Now the two demonstrations I'm going to show are showing you how you can still recover those transactions if you have access to the transaction log. So I'm going to get started by recovering my database to a known state. This is a full backup and 4 transaction log backups. Next, I'm going to show you that the top sales order ID value is 75250. So what we want to do next is just insert another transaction. This will simulate real world where in between your scheduled transaction log backups you have activity occurring. So to show you that I did in fact insert a new record, you'll see here sales order ID of 59s. Next, I'm going to set my database offline. We'll see here that the database is in fact showing offline. Now I'm going to go and delete my data file. So let's assume that you ask for additional SAN storage and your SAN admin says they have to provision a new LUN and they accidentally format the wrong LUN, or your data file becomes corrupt in some way. So now we have successfully deleted the data file. We'll try to bring the database back online and you'll see that we get an error. But the key thing to note here is that the state of the database now comes to a recovery pending. So what do? A normal transaction log backup will fail. It's trying to write a checkpoint. So to successfully back up the tail end of a transaction log in this manner, we'll need to use the no truncate command. We backed up 3 pages. So now let's restore our database again, this time including the tail log backup that we just made. And I'll demonstrate and show that we do in fact have that the transaction of the 59 sales order ID. Now this is on the same server, same instance. If something were to happen to our data file, well, what if the scenario of losing your entire LUN that has your data files, that may include your master model MSDB, it could be your entire instance that is now gone. So let's demonstrate. So we're coming over to a brand new instance. This instance has no record of the backup sample database, so we're going to create one. So we now have a backup sample database. Like before, we set the data file off, the database offline. I come to my data folder here. I'm going to delete now the MDF and LDF, so both the data file and the log file. I'm going to go to my backup folder and I'm going to grab my transaction log from the other instance. I paste it into the same path, so it's the same path as this new database was looking, and it has the same name as before. So again, we show here the database is showing offline. We try to bring it back online, same error message that we got in the previous demo, same recovery pending. So now let's back up the log with no truncate, and we were able to back it up. We'll go through and do our restore. As a good DBA, you're doing your backups regularly and you're copying those off-site. So if you have your backups, you can fully recover to a brand new instance the entire database and any logs or any transactions in the tail end of the log. So I hope you never have to use this, but please do build yourself an example, go through and practice doing this type of restore.